Sunday, March 30th, 2025. Forgive. Today we affirm, my soft heart expresses love as I forgive. And our message reads, holding on to hurt caused by someone's words or actions is harmful to mental, physical, and emotional health. If I stew over these negative feelings, it's likely I will feel worse. It is when I am willing to let go of these troubling emotions that the healing begins. Forgiveness is healing. Realizing the slight may have been unintentional, or the one who hurt me may be unaware of my pain, I feel compassion. I let go by repeating the words, I forgive you, silently to myself, which helps me speak these words aloud when I am able. If I have caused unintentional harm, I ask for forgiveness. Through divine love, I forgive and am forgiven. As I express this love, I mend feelings and open the way to peace and harmony. Our Bible verse for today is from Luke 6:37. Do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven.
That's it.
So, I don't know if I'm supposed to start or not. No, okay. I'm guessing that I am. And I've known for a good while I'm going to be doing this talk. And I got a call while I was at work in the warehouse. Neil asked me what the title of the talk is. And I said, how about now it's spring, it's time to blossom? Well, I was trying to go by my memory and I was a little bit off because I had actually titled it, Now is the Time to Blossom. And I like that one a little bit better than the one that I gave Neil because it means, unlike the beautiful plants, or most of them, they do their blossoming some other time than anyway, unlike the beautiful plants, we humans, we can blossom anytime we wish because we have heat in our homes and we have air conditioning in our homes, and nothing about the weather is going to affect us too much about whether we're blossoming or not. So I'm going to just go ahead to what I have written and just read my talk to you. And here's how it goes. I wish it was deep winter again. I wish it was January. I want to be that dandelion blooming all by itself in the snow. I'm writing with that old ballpoint pen of mine. I don't know when it will run out, but I just keep on writing. I know there's always another pen somewhere that works. And that's just kind of like me. I'm always ready to write, and whatever I have in front of me, I'll write. My brother, Robert, years ago when he was starting out, he's just a few years younger than me, he had a little wooden sign in one of his first apartments away from home, and it said, "Bloom where you are planted." Kids like to blow dandelions when they're all in the seed stage. The little seeds fly all over the place. The winter dandy, I'm going to call a dandelion, caught on the same time it was freezing cold, and dandy grew straight up to its glorious majesty, a bright, fresh, golden, wild yellow. And this was in the middle of winter. I think I referred to it in my last talk. And it was the only dandelion I could see in the whole neighborhood. And it was there, bright yellow, just blooming away. And I love dandelions. I know some people don't because they mess up their perfectly green lawns. But, I just love them. I love the color yellow, and I just love the wildflowers too, as well as the flowers that people plant. I saw this dandelion and I cherished it and thanked it. No one saw me do it, but I did. I swear I did. I said to myself, I am, and so did the little dandy. And I know I am means what the great I am says. And just think of God, think of the God part of ourselves. And to tell the truth, anything else in the God part of ourselves is just a grand illusion that we have here on earth. Well, Dandy was put there to inspire someone, and I was that one. You ever come across something that just a fabulous thing that you will see? It could be a cloud formation or anything, and it's going to disappear, and you may be the only one in the entire earth looking at that particular inspiring thing. So it was maybe just meant for you. I was inspired by Dandy the Dandelion to write something, a song maybe. Perhaps no one heard that song except maybe a little child. Some little boy or girl caught on to the spirit of the song, maybe not to the words, but to the spirit, as I said, in which it was written. Pure love, pure inspiration, pure love and joy. That dandelion is strong, and I am too. Maybe not strong in the way of being able to withstand if somebody came along and walked on me like that. Maybe I'd survive, and maybe I wouldn't be straight up after that. But it's almost as if a big giant comes along and squishes you. That would be kind of hard to unsquish yourself. They could easily do it, but I'm not talking about that kind of strength. I'm talking about a spiritual strength, a strength with God present within me and all of us. My wife and I have the living proof of the strength of beauty. 4 plants we lovingly tended to last fall and last winter are still surviving. To this day, they're out just not too far away from where I'm sitting out on the back porch. And they are still surviving beautifully. There's 1, 2, 3 or 4 plants. One is a little rose plant I gave to Patty for her birthday. And it had tons and tons of blossoms. And we thought the blossoming time was over, but no, just like us, it's never over. And it had this one big, beautiful pink rose on it that just kept on going and is still going now. The rest of the plant, I think, is going to its end stage, but that rose it's still going just beautifully wherever it goes, So all these plants, they're glorious, and they've been blossoming for such a long time. Of course, I'm hesitating a little bit because I had this all typed out and I couldn't find my typed copy. But anyway, so after December 24, 2024, the plants went back to their luscious, green, authentic state to satisfy the longings for life. And springtime on one of the coldest, snowiest winters. It certainly was here in Maryland, and I'm sure it was in Pennsylvania, and I'm sure it was just in the whole Maryland, Virginia, DC, Mid-Atlantic region. Well, we care for these 4 plants more than we have ever cared for any of our plants. And the 4 of them showed their unbelievable beauty and helped us all to survive. 2 people, 4 cats, and 1 dog. Yeah, that's our family right now, our immediate family. And I've been saying a prayer like this, and this is kind of the words of the prayer. And I said, "Oh, dear God, thank you so much for life, love, beauty, and strength as demonstrated in the 4 little plants that continue to show their absolute best through the end of one year and the beginning of the next. March is still in the new year, I think. In fact, so is April, May, June, July, September, etc. Every day is New Year's Day, and I can say Happy New Year. I like to wake up and feel like it's not only a new day, but it's a new year. It doesn't happen all the time, but I at least try to wake up with gratitude. The Bible talks about beautiful, supposedly insignificant things, like the lilies in the field. What if all those lilies were removed, I'm thinking, except one? What would that lily do? It would mightily bloom as long as it could. And then when that was over, its seeds would take over, and the spirit of the lily would go on and on and on. How about the one little sparrow protected by spirit? It would soar and fly above the heavens, basking in the oneness and joy it would feel with all life. And me, it's something I like to do. When I take a plane flight and it's going across the country, and sometimes it's a clear day all the way across, I'm going to California, visit relatives, and I'm gazing through the window of a passenger plane on this continental flight, and my eyes and then my creative spirit would be hovering with the puffy clouds. I'd be out there instead of sitting in the seat watching it. That's just kind of how I feel for just a little while, a few minutes or so. And I'm looking at the checkered fields just the way a bird would, and the villages far below, and just rising above all of this stuff. And I've done that, and it's nice to just sort of forget everything for a few moments. I was really soaring, and I was really feeling like my arms were spread out and they were wings, and I was just flying over this, kind of my own miracle, kind of my own blossoming. Now, this is one of the parts of the talk that I had written out, but as I said, it's somewhere in cyberspace. But I know that we all like to share our thoughts. And, I know the plants and even the animals have their particular ways of blossoming, and it's natural for them, just like it's natural for children to just sort of go off on to a creative episode and share it, perhaps with others, with a family that's really loving and really accepting and just wants to hear what the children have to say. But, we can be as little children as Jesus used to talk about. And how do we blossom, or have we blossomed sometime? Do we expect to blossom again? Exactly. What would blossoming be for us? For me, sometimes I go in these dry periods of writing songs and I can't think of anything, and I'm just doing something else, thinking about anything but music. And all of a sudden, something pops in my head and I have to run and get a piece of paper or turn on the recording device on my phone and just sing into it no matter where I am. Even if I'm in a restaurant, let's say, I'll go into the restroom and I'll be singing from one of the stalls in there, and just, it's just sort of when the spirit hits you, you can blossom for at least a short period of time. And there's just so many different ways of blossoming. Can anybody think of a way that you in particular can blossom? I'm opening this up now, okay? And that's pretty much what I had to say as a talk, but I'm just curious about anybody else's blossoming, in which, just like the plants that people think it's over, but it's not. We can blossom at any time and any age and any state of mind.
I have something to share. I wouldn't necessarily think about spirit helping me blossom in a men's room stall, but I mean, I'm sure other people have had opportunities like that.
Well, God is still with us no matter where we are, by the way. Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully, yes.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, just like you said, Norm, you're not even thinking about it. And all of a sudden an idea comes into your head about maybe a question you posed a day or two ago, asking spirit for an answer, or it just comes out of nowhere, and you almost have to write it down. Like I know that lately I'm not really a dreamer, but I've been dreaming a lot in the last
Right.
couple. Very weird. I don't normally dream. And they tell us, write your dreams down. Now, some of them are not that pleasant, so I'm not sure I'd want to record them. But how about the rest of you? How do you blossom? Open to discussion.
Are we still recording?
Yeah.
You maybe you can hold a piece of paper in front of you so they won't know who you are.
Turn off your picture, right?
What came to mind for me was the Little Prince and the rose.
Mm,
He was
Yeah.
taking care of his own rose on his planet, and then he comes to Earth, and there's all these other roses, and the fox, I guess, was it the fox or the snake? I can't remember which told him, "It's your rose because it's special to you," and
fox,
it's
yeah.
so these moments are special to us. Those are our roses, like you say.
Mhm,
Your story just brought that to mind.
mhm.
Anyway,
Hmm,
thanks.
I like that.
That's a great book. That's a great book. I think, for me, you blossom every time you make a connection, like, your two thoughts or two insights that you have, and all of a sudden you make this connection and, it's like you change a little bit. I think every time I have a new insight, or especially if I make a connection between two things and have a greater insight, it that's a blossoming. And I think, like Frank, the nurturing part of what you had to say today when you were talking about nurturing, that was really meaningful.
No.
Know what Frank said about
Yeah.
nurturing the rose, yeah. And that it made me think about The Secret Garden, that book, The Secret Garden, where
Right.
there's this father who is unable to nurture his child after the loss of his wife, and the child was withering, and then a ward comes in, and together they want to nurture the mother's old garden, right? And as doing that, it brings it's nurturing the boy as well. And it made me think of how I love to do that each spring. I go out and I said, well, where's this plant? I'm moving leaves. Where's this? Where's that? This hasn't bloomed yet. I don't see this yet. Is it going to come back? And then just one day, And that happened to me this week. I went out, nothing was blooming, well, besides daffodils, but on my trees. And then there was my, peach tree bloomed and my cherry tree bloomed, and, the leaves started peeking out on things. And it was like, because I want to see those things, but I just enjoy so much digging around and seeing what's coming back. Oh, a new little thing has come here. I'll transplant that. And the nurturing part, I think you get so many rewards from nurturing, and you just people don't think about that. But I think my new thing will be, that you need to blossom daily. And thank you, Norm. I'm going to say, leave that word blossom as an important one for me this spring. Thank you.
And thank you. And you just reminded me of one thing that flowers do, and we do in maybe another way, is that we have a flower will blossom, and part of that blossoming, if I understand it correctly, is to attract things like bugs to fertilize it, or honeybees. And so our blossoming, it's just like I'll be walking down the street in my neighborhood and somebody I know just a little bit smiles at me, and that's almost like they turn into a little flower walking, or they say hi or I say hi. I noticed that yesterday, what was happening. I was thinking, I wonder what will happen when I walk past this person. And I said hi, and they said hi right back and smiled and waved. And I could feel inside me just a tiny little bit of excitement. It's like it lifted me up several degrees. And I thought, man, I'm so glad that I said hi to that person, because I felt like I was a magnet, and it just lifted me up. And I hope it was lifting that person up.
I remember there on television years ago when I was a little kid, there was a program called O. Henry Theater. Does anybody remember that? And each time they would take a short story and they would enact it. And there was one, and I don't know, I can't remember who the author was of the story. It may have been O. Henry, it may have been Tennyson, who knows? If you do know, tell me, because I've forgotten. But the story was, there's a child laying in a bed, an invalid child, staring out of a window and sees a blossom on a vine and against the wall of the house next door, and is staring at that. And a man comes in, I think it's a grandfather, I'm sort of making the story up as I go a little bit, who says, hang in there, you're going to get well, and just keep staring at the little rose on that, or the little flower on that vine. And the child does, and the flower just stays there and stays there and stays there. Finally, it turns out that the grandfather had been going out at night and painting on this flower on the side of this brick wall. And it appeared to be a blooming flower, but in truth, it was the love of the grandfather doing this for this child. And finally, the young boy got over his fever and survived. And the plant, as the seasons changed, all the leaves died away from the plant, and you could see that it was just a painting of a little tiny flower. Does anybody remember that story?
No, but that's a wonderful story.
Yeah,
That's
I'll have to
incredible.
look it up and see who it was that. But it was a great thing, this O. Henry Theater. There were many wonderful stories like that. I remember too, talking about blossoming of people and passing somebody. I saw a woman walking, pushing a cart in a grocery store outside. She was pushing a cart to park it and put it away before she went to her car. She had the most terrible, hateful scowl on her face. That's what I interpreted it as. And I just thought, gosh, that woman is really just a nasty person. But as she turned to me and I almost hit her with my car because I was parking it right beside her. I said to her, oops, I'm sorry. Hi. And she broke into a smile and was a completely different person when she smiled. Suddenly I felt all this warmth and beauty and grace on her face. And I thought, I misinterpreted her. She must have been deep in thought about something else entirely. And that was her look of deep thought or consternation or whatever it was. It wasn't hate. Where did that hate come from? Well, I'm the one that thought it up. So guess where I finally figured out that must have come from. It was some kind of fear deep inside of me, I think. So,
Wow.
but I still remember how beautiful her smile was.
Wow. That's great. And that just reminds me of some people at work. And I've told everybody I've been working at a Maryland Food Bank warehouse there, when some of my music gigs dried up. And and I can think of a couple of women that when I first saw them, they didn't talk to me and they looked very grumpy. And I think I might have said something and they might have said something to kind of turn me off and shoo me away. But now I'm thinking both of these, they can't wait to say hi to me when they come in the door. They beat me to it much of the time. And they're just so friendly and pleasant and nice. Yes, I'm misjudging people. Well, not quite as much as I used to, and I mean it's getting a little better. But it's incredible how I can't read their minds, and it's just wonderful what they turn out to be, and it's usually incredibly different from what I think.
Patty, you wanted to say something?
Just wanted to say that I love you, Norm. I love your songs.
Mhm.
Listen to your
Oh,
songs. I've shared them with my 5 great grandchildren who like to ride in with their parents and listen to the songs as they take trips, because they live well, they live out in West Virginia now, so any place they go is a trip. So they actually thought that the CD came from their church,
oh,
a different kind of church than our church here at Unity, but they love the messages and they love your voice and music, and they were sure it was from their church. So I said, well, it must have been from your church. So I didn't try to change his mind about where it came from, because
yeah.
that would have been wrong. So in that regard, I felt like he gave you a gift and me a gift, and I gave them a gift by just acknowledging their love of your music and who you are and what you mean to us. So thank you, Norm.
Well, thank you so much, and I'm glad that they saw and you've seen the blossoming part of me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
100%.
I'm going to stay on that thought. That's very encouraging to know. You never know.
Who you're going to touch.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks, Norm.
Yeah.
Nice talk today. I enjoyed that. Um, Part of the blossoming experience for me, and I'm going to be a little bit uh, different angled on it, is sometimes for me to blossom, I have to discard some outside experiences, outside negativities. I find the more that I ignore what Frank is telling me, the better I do. And But sometimes you have to get rid of the weeds before you can um, get a good blossom out of the garden. So
Right.
um, just to tell you that I thought that, especially when you say that there are things that appear only to you, like the cloud going by, sometimes that's what it takes.
Yeah. Thanks, Leon.
I
Another
think,
point for me, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead, Patty.
I was just gonna add, well, Robert and I watched a movie called Steel Magnolias. It's an old movie. It's a
Right.
classic. And it's this very theme. When we started watching, I said, this is kind of hokey, but you get into it and it's about all of life and connection and family and everything that matters. And I just thought of that as a perfect, uh, perfect to what your theme is. Thanks.
Yeah. Wow.
I was just going to say that when you talk about um, saying something to someone and acknowledging them, it really seems like you're giving them kindness and then they blossom by smiling or saying something back. So that kindness is the nurturing that you talked about.
Yeah.
So there can be little tiny blossoms when somebody
Right.
smiles after you talk to them.
Right. And it may just be just a tiny little perk that can help a person start to change their day. You know, maybe something comes after that, but sometimes just your one tiny little thing can be all the difference for the rest of that person's day or week, you know, or even life at times. You know, I've heard of people who are just on their last step, so they think, and everything seems terrible and they want to end it all. And then someone comes along and does something really wonderful. And all of a sudden their faith in God and humanity, etc., is restored and they can live again. You know, it's just amazing what we can do. And I think some of the stuff that we do is consciously unintentional. You know, our spirit probably knows what it's doing, but you know, we just sort of live, and if something pops into our head and it seems to make sense, we'll do it. You know, like saying hi to someone that we wouldn't ordinarily say hi to, and bam, we never know what that's going to do. You know, yeah.
And Norm, I'm just reminded of, I hate to quote anything that comes on TV, but remember the commercials with Pay It Forward, insurance companies, where one person would do something and then you see the other person helping somebody else and then another person does something. We went through a whole Pay It Forward stage on TV for a while, but that's what it's like. In my estimation of, a future society, there's no exchange of money. There's just exchange of personal goods or whatever gift God has bestowed upon you to help somebody else. Where you live in communities where that's all that you do. If somebody's needing food, then somebody who's good at farming or has a garden will share food with that person and they'll do some carpentry for you and so forth. So I think that almost defines a future kind of life here on this rock we call Earth. It'd be nice.
I have several friends at work who have made the whole difference as to why I'm still there. And they are, two of them are from Honduras and one is from Mexico. And guys and gals, and they'll just come up to me with the biggest smile in the world, and they call me Normita. That's my Spanish name, you know. And first I thought, what's going on? Why are they calling me that? You know, but it just means something like Norman honey, you know, and they're genuine. They're genuine. You know, if they like you, they like you. They love you, you know, and they smile and always never forget to say hi first. And how was your weekend? And today's the day you do music, isn't it? And all this different stuff. And generous. And I've never been around people so generous. It was birthday time, and we all exchanged a little bit of money. And the first time I was there, and it was my birthday, and everybody knew, they slipped, each one of them slipped about $100 to me. I mean, I'm just saying, it's amazing. And I wouldn't want to insult them by refusing it, and I think later I had kept one of them and gave $100 to them,
Hey, I got a birthday coming up. Where do you work?
Yeah, you'll be a temporary employee for one day, and it'll be your birthday, right?
We opened this up to the whole group, but did you have some more things you'd like to add before we close the recorded session?
All I could do, but it doesn't have to be done, is maybe sing another song. I feel like I have received a lot from you all, and I just sort of got the thing rolling by just choosing the subject, and that's wonderful. And I was worried when I couldn't get the typed edition of my talk, because there were a number of paragraphs that I missed, and then also my writing was kind of sloppy, and I couldn't read a couple times and hesitated. But I just feel forgiven, and I feel loved and everything else when I come here. It's just nice to, as always, to be with you folks. It's yeah.
Well, sometimes here it says, we're going to go forward without your notes, Norm. All divine order. So if you want to close your talk with a song, and then I'll stop the recording, please.
Okay, I can do that. Well, this song, I'm going to sing a simple song. It isn't one that I wrote, and it's just something we can sing in our heads all day. It's kind of a chant. It's a very pretty chant, though. Love is the only answer. Love is the only way. Love, 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 love. How our circle grows. How our circle grows. Love is the only answer. Love is the only way. Love, 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 love. How our circle grows. How our circle grows. How our circle grows. And it's still growing, folks. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I feel the love and I see the love.